Can you do this? As early as your 40s, you may lose muscle and strength. Protein supports muscle health. Ensure Max Protein has 30 grams of high-quality protein to feed your muscles up to 7 hours. So take the challenge. Ensure.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. I'm Aliyah Bryant. Here's what we have in the bulletin. New report shows cyber attack attempts on the rise. Classes back in session at the St. Elizabeth Technical High School. And later in sports, no advantage going into JPL quarterfinals second legs. Thank you for joining us. Now the details. Fresh concerns this afternoon that cyber criminals are moving faster and smarter with the help of artificial intelligence. A new global threat report from cybersecurity company Fortinet reveals that Jamaica recorded more than 46 million cyber attack attempts in 2025, part of over 325 million attacks across the English-speaking Caribbean. The report warns that cybercrime is no longer the work of isolated hackers, but highly coordinated networks using AI-powered tools to launch attacks within hours of vulnerabilities being exposed. Fortinet says ransomware attacks surged nearly 400% globally last year, while stolen credentials and identity theft continue to fuel breaches in cloud systems and businesses worldwide. The company says sectors such as manufacturing, retail, and healthcare remain among the most vulnerable, as the cyber criminals increasingly rely on automated tools to scale attacks and steal sensitive data. Fortinet is urging organizations to strengthen cybersecurity defenses and adopt more proactive, intelligence-driven strategies to combat the growing threat landscape. Normalcy has returned to the St. Elizabeth Technical High School, STETS, after tensions on the campus last week forced the school to close its doors. The details in this report. And we apologize for that technical difficulty. With more international airlines reducing flights in response to the global fuel crisis, there's uncertainty about the likely impact on summer travel to Jamaica. Jamila Maitland reports.
The airline industry is facing the worst fuel crisis in decades. According to international reports, jet fuel prices have doubled due to the Middle East conflict. In response, airlines are cutting thousands of flights while also increasing fuel surcharges and baggage fees to offset operating costs. Airfares have increased significantly, with some ticket prices for certain routes doubling compared to last year. And recently, Spirit Airlines has closed down. As the ongoing conflict surrounding the Strait of Hormuz continues, the opposition says the government should assess and report on the impact on the tourism industry.
I strongly disagree with Minister Bartlett's apparent nonchalance as it relates to the closure of Spirit Airlines. Spirit Airlines forecasted 30,000 to 40,000 seats coming into Jamaica over summer 2026. And I understand that while other airlines are coming into Jamaica, other airlines are servicing the routes into Jamaica, the rise in fuel cost is not an isolated factor.
President of the Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association, JHTA, Christopher Jarrett, says the fallout from Spirit Airlines isn't expected to be that great.
We don't think there's going to be any particular major fallout because Spirit Airlines only accounts for less than 3% of our airlift into the islands.
Mr. Jarrett admits that the government should actively promote brand Jamaica, especially in other markets like Latin America, where the number of visitors from Colombia and Brazil is increasing.
If it is that we know this problem exists, we just market a little harder. As I said, the fuel crisis affects everyone. So it is really to have the customer think carefully about where it is that they want to spend their dollars. Because whenever there is anxiety, people tend to want to get some relief from those anxieties. And so if it is that we remind them that Jamaica should be forefront in their minds, then I think we'll always remain on top of the list.
Opposition spokesperson on tourism Andrea Perkis says with the increase in ticket prices, actively promoting brand Jamaica locally could help bridge the gap.
Fuel cost is affecting everybody, not just the airlines, but to buy your gas to come down from Kingston and Mandeville and St. Thomas and Portland. So better hotel prices, a nice local rate, a nice local package for our locals. Partner with attractions also. Let's not assume that persons from Portland, has a similar river to a Mayfield Falls or a Blue Hole that is in the western section of the island.
Jamila Maitland, TVJ News.
British tourists heading to Jamaica have been urged to exercise increased caution following a new UK government travel advisory. The warning cites a rise in sexual assaults reported in tourist areas such as resorts, beaches, bars, and excursions. Some incidents involved perpetrators initially meeting victims socially before attacks in isolated locations. Travelers are advised to stay vigilant in social settings and avoid secluded areas, especially after dark. The advisory also highlights ongoing Hurricane Melissa recovery issues in Western Jamaica, including damaged infrastructure. Access to healthcare and utilities remains disrupted in some affected communities. Officials warn of increased mosquito-borne illness risks due to standing waters after storms. Now, despite the alert, Jamaica remains the top Caribbean destination for UK tourists, with high visitor numbers continuing into 2026. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says the government is moving aggressively to increase the pace of housing developments across Jamaica. Dr. Holness declared that the country must outcompete the squatters by bringing more affordable housing solutions to market faster. He was speaking at the National Housing Trust Roselle Estate groundbreaking ceremony on Friday. Shamila Pullen reports.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says the groundbreaking of the Roselle Estate housing development represents a critical part of the government's strategy to transform St. Thomas and expand access to home ownership. The development, a partnership between the National Housing Trust and New Roselle Properties Development, will deliver 895 housing solutions.
Of that number, 660 will be made available to the public through the NHT, with the remaining 235 delivered by the developers, New Roselle Properties. The development is being undertaken at an estimated cost of 9.6 billion Jamaican dollars. That's a tidy sum. On 187 acres of land located approximately 3 kilometers west of the Morant Bay Urban Center.
The Prime Minister also criticized what he described as excessive bureaucracy and inefficiency in the approvals process.
To give approval for a really very small project of 187 acres of 800 houses is far too long and will not deliver the prosperity to the people. We are short 150,000 houses. And if we continue at this pace, 50 years from now, another prime minister, another minister of housing is going to make the same observation. That in 50 years, you only did maybe 18,000 houses in St. Thomas.
Dr. Holness said Jamaica must rethink its approach to public administration and project oversight, contending that inefficiency has become a major barrier to national development. He maintained that the government intends to continue reforming administrative systems to improve efficiency and speed up service delivery. Looking ahead,
we took a decision that we're going to change how we administer the fitness of motor vehicles. And we took a decision. We're going to change how you pay for your registration of your motor vehicles. And when we came up with the idea, you know, there are a lot of technical people who are saying, boy, it can't work. It's going to create more problems, more accidents going to happen.
Dr. Holness projected that St. Thomas could see as many as 10,000 new housing units within the next 3 years as development accelerates across the parish. Shamela Pullen, TVJ News.
Can you do this? As early as your 40s, you may lose muscle and strength. Protein supports muscle health. Ensure Max Protein has 30 grams of high-quality protein to feed your muscles up to 7 hours. So take the challenge. Ensure.